Hello, everyone. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this is Creating an Inspired Life. I'm so happy you're watching and listening today. We're going to have a great show as usual. I'm a medium, and as a medium, I connect in with our loved ones on the other side. I'm also a certified life coach, and life coaching is helping people handle their problems, basically. If you're having relationship issues, job issues, stress, whatever it is, I help people handle those problems. It's awesome. Today, my coaching tip today is all about saying no. Our life situation here is like a school in a way. Life brings us issues, concerns, whatever it is that we need to look at within ourselves so that we can become our best selves. Things will come up to make us confront issues. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is that this week I had an interesting experience, a few of them actually, because life is trying to teach me something and get my attention. That's what I found out and finally figured out. The other night I was talking about how someone had contacted me and wanted me to volunteer for an event in July on a Saturday night. And I knew if I said yes, I would be committing to doing too much, because on Friday night, I had already committed to another volunteer event. On Saturday, I already have readings scheduled, and I'm doing a mediumship demonstration in the afternoon. So if I did this thing on Saturday night, after all of that, that would really affect me and what was going to happen the next day with the readings I have scheduled for the next day. And I could feel my resistance to this new request. I could feel it there. So when I got the email, I didn't respond right away because I knew that it would be too much. I would be too tired and all of this stuff. But I'm aware that when my inner self wants me to say no, I just delay responding. I just put it off a little bit and don't respond right away. It's a great tactic for me to get back into myself, give myself time to figure out if that's what I really want to do, and also lets me figure out how to rephrase my response so that it could be a nice, polite, tactful response. But when this happened, here's where I went wrong. Instead of just emailing her back with a simple no, I told her I was going to be too tired, probably, but I wasn't sure. And I didn't say no, but I said I might or might not show up the night of the event. And she, of course, was like, well, whatever you can do is fine, And I told her it'd be a last-minute decision. So I was talking to my family about it. My daughter looks at me in her wisdom, as she has so much of, and she says to me, why didn't you just say no? You know you're going to be too tired. You know it's going to be too much. You know you're not going to want to leave the house. Why didn't you just say no? And I thought, oh, here she goes again. She's always right. I mean, she really is. She was actually my mother in a previous life. Maybe that'll be another story. But I realized, because she said that it was time that I needed to look at some things. What is it about myself that I have such a problem coming out with an outright definitive no? Why can't I do that? Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Sometimes I'll make excuses. I'll try to soften the blow for them, whatever it is. And this idea of not being able to come right out and say no also includes not standing up for myself, not speaking my truth, not saying what I feel to certain people. It's all the same thing, whether it's a yes, a no, or whatever it is that I need to be saying. So there's something here. And I was thinking about this quite a bit. And many of us struggle with wanting to be liked, wanting to not upset other people. We want to keep everything smooth. We don't want to cause any problems. And it can become an ingrained habit, something we may have learned when we were younger. And we might do it to avoid conflict, which is one of my things. I know I do not like conflict. And I don't want to hurt other people or make them upset and all of this. And I realized, again, for maybe the 100th time, that this is affecting my ability to say no. It's a habit that I have. And so many of us have this habit of just responding without really thinking. We are not really connected to ourselves. We don't really know what we want to do, who we are, what we want to go. We're not listening to our inner being. We're not listening to our inner truth. And this habit is really based on fear. everything that is bad is based on fear. It's the fear of being disliked or even the fear of not being seen as good enough. And we get trapped in there in this fear, but fear is a good thing really because it's there to protect us. It might be misguided at times, but it's there to protect us. But if we can be aware, we can check into these things. This was another wake-up call for me. I love this because life, I know, does bring me situations, as it does for you too. It brings us things to get it into our focus so that we can figure out what we need to do and how to move forward. I did notice that I'd had some people call me recently asking me to help them with problems that are not in my skill set. They didn't have anything to do with mediumship, psychic, or coaching, or healing. Didn't have anything to do with that. And I was really good. I was aware that it was outside of my area. Rather than just trying something I shouldn't be doing, I said no and sent them to someone else. So that was good. The other day, somebody else asked me a question, wanted me to allow them to do something, and I was in the position to say no, and I did. It was not right. I just went no. I didn't even explain it. I said no. So looking back, I can see that the universe here is bringing me these situations so I can practice saying no. And if I'm not saying no, things are going to happen. I'm going to have more problems, and I'm going to keep getting situations where I have to practice saying no until I finally get it. You know how some people joke sometimes that they don't want to come back to do another lifetime because they just don't want to. And people will say to them, well, if you don't learn everything in this lifetime, you have to come back and practice and do it again. It's kind of the same thing. You don't have to wait till another lifetime to practice. You can do it now. And if I'm not speaking my truth and saying my no, that is really showing that I'm disconnected. That awareness is always so important, the self-awareness. I have to be aware, and you have to be aware of who we are, what we want. Then it's easier to speak our truth. And as you know, my passion is to help you and myself become our best selves. But we can't do that if we're not listening to ourselves, if we're not honoring our inner truth and feeling what we really need to be feeling. We're not listening to the inner being that's trying to help us. So we have to come back to ourselves. I did notice also this week, it's been a very insightful week for me, that when my inner being wants me to say no, I will frequently override that feeling. And I'll say to myself, well, I'll do it and I'll see what happens. It can be as simple as, it looks like it's going to rain, or I think it might rain, but I don't take the umbrella with me, one of those things. Logically, I don't see what could go wrong with whatever it is I'm saying. I'll try it anyway. But lots of times, lots of things do go wrong. And the problem with this, of overriding my feeling, is like letting the universe know and telling my inner self, sorry, I'm not going to listen to you. And I'm not listening to the intuition. I'm not listening to the warning feelings I'm getting inside about not doing something. And I can look back over my life and see so many times where I said, I'll do it and see what happens. And then I regretted it. So it's an interesting thing that has been brought further into my awareness. You may as well have something you say or do that overrides your warnings, your intuition, that feeling you get. And it might be saying, well, I don't trust my emotions. I think, I don't know, I'm probably wrong. And so you doubt yourself. And the step really is to become aware of how you feel and what you want. You want to check in with how you respond. Are you responding out of habit? You always say the same thing, I said to somebody once, you just don't listen to me very well. And he says, well, you always say that. And I'm thinking, yeah, and you just didn't listen to me again right now. So we have these habits and these reactions that we're totally unaware of. And if we can become more aware of these things, that will help us get back to ourselves. Not being able to say no, and I do know, I've had so many clients who have the same issue, is a sign that we've disconnected from ourselves. And we just have to take that time to get back to ourselves again. All my messages on every radio show, every coaching, pretty much every mediumship reading is, if you're having a problem in your life, you've disconnected from yourself. You've disconnected from paying attention to who you are, what you want, what you feel. You're not in your power. You're not in your alignment of who you truly are. Because if you are, you'll be able to speak your truth, and you can do it nicely. You don't have to be a jerk about it, but you can do it nicely, and you'll be able to say no once you get back into that. So after I decided I was going to talk about this, I had another time where I got to say no, and I did it. So I hope you're all proud of me, because I'm proud of myself for that. It's going to be a daily struggle, but I've made a point of looking every day for an opportunity to say no, and it's turned into a game. So that is my coaching tip of the day. It's all about saying no and how it comes back to understanding and knowing who you are. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and you can reach me at psychicmediumcolleen.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Colleen Vanderzyden, Medium and Self-Empowerment Coach. And if you're trying to find me on Facebook, make sure you just keep typing Colleen Vanderzyden, and then eventually you'll see the Medium part show up. And then you can follow me there. So I'm so happy you were listening to me today, and we are going to go on to our first caller, who is Catherine from Kansas. Catherine, how are you?
I'm good.
Oh, you don't sound good. You sound kind of low energy. Is there something? Yeah. It's like, I'm good. Okay. Is there something in particular you want to talk about tonight?
I'm just kind of stuck in life right now. I dropped out of high school, and recently I went back into classes online and got my high school diploma, and now I'm just kind of stuck on what I want to do with my life. I don't know where to go. I want to go to college, but I suffer from anxiety and depression, and it's stopping me. And I just want to know, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, basically.
Okay, that's a big order, but this is what I was getting all sorts of stuff as you were talking. And I want to congratulate you for going back and finishing your degree there, because that's very important. And it is interesting that you mentioned anxiety and those things, because that totally ties into what I was just talking about being who you are and knowing who you are. And so I do want to talk about that a little bit. And I do have a suggestion for you that you might consider following as a career choice, because I can feel you've got a lot of potential within you. First, I want to tell you that you have a very good heart. You have a very loving presence, don't you?
Yeah.
You do. You really do. And I want you to remember this, because what I'm going to have you do, I'm giving you homework. Okay. This is good homework, though, not like school stuff. I want you to, and this, I tell a lot of my clients this, I want you to sit down with a piece of paper or on the computer if you prefer, and write down all these wonderful things about yourself. Because what this is going to show you is all of the good stuff about yourself. Because you're a very loving person, you're very kind. You try very hard not to upset other people, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a lot like me, I can tell. And you have that really good heart. So remember those things, those 3 things I just said to you, because you're going to write those down. The reason I have people write this down is because when it's written down, we tend to believe it as true. Okay. And if it's written down, you can start to learn more about yourself. And you're not going to write down just 10 things, 15 things, 20. You're going to do 100. You're going to do 100. You're going to reach about 30 maybe, or maybe even sooner than that. And you're going to have to start really digging for some things. And you'll start recognizing that, think about you going back to school. What does that show you? It shows you that you have the persistence to go back and do that. That's a wonderful thing. It shows you have the discipline to go back and do that. It's a wonderful thing. Look at these wonderful things all about you. You have so much there for you. And there's 2 things that are popping into my head right now that I want you to think about, consider for career. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go exactly with what I say, and you don't have to do anything I say for that matter, but you don't have to go exactly with that, but it may lead you to something else that sparks your interest. Okay. And I'm seeing these 2 things. One, I want you working with children. As either a preschool person or a teacher's aide kind of thing. And I know you're sitting there going, oh my God, really? But think about it, because you're so good with kids, aren't you?
Yeah.
You are. So think about it, because that's something. The other thing, and this one popped in first, okay? This is actually more along the lines of going to a community college and doing something related to it is scientific, so you're probably resisting that idea as well, but that's okay. Like a medical thing, like becoming somebody who can take x-rays or something like this, okay? There's something to this, because you would get into a situation where you could help. Are you also very good with older people? Because that's what it's feeling like to me.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
this may be where I'm heading as well, because I kind of want you in a medical field. And if you were to work in a nursing home or an assisted living facility or something like this too, you notice both things I'm mentioning are both connections to people. You have those skills of being able to talk to people really well and make them feel comfortable. So what you want to do when you're deciding what you're going to do is you want to use the things you're already comfortable in. I know you say you have some anxiety and things like that, but that's just because of the situation at hand. You haven't just found your path yet. It's only a matter of taking some small steps to get you on your path. And you're so close to this. And I have to say, too, I am feeling you looking at some situations. I do want you to go back to school, is what it feels like to me. I want you to go and get some more training on some things, and something that's low key, no big deal, because there's the feeling that it's going to make you more confident. So you start out taking something that's easy, just to get back into the swing of how that all works. At the same time, you might really consider looking into those ideas I was talking about, especially the working in a nursing home or assisted living facility or something like this. Because I think you can get a job as an aide with minimal training, and that would get your foot in the door and you'd feel more comfortable. And then if you decided you want to pursue something further, you would be able to do that. Oh, my goodness, that was a lot of talking. What do you think about all that?
Well, it's actually kind of cool because my mom, she has MS, and I help her when I go in town and see her. And she told me that, you would be really good working as a CNA, because I help her and I make her feel comfortable and things like that. So.
I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about with you. And you would be really good at this. So I'm glad you've affirmed that for me. And you would be so good at this. So think about this and start to just plan some steps, little steps, no big steps, just little steps. Start looking around, see what's out there, see what's close by. And I'm sure your mom can help point you in the right direction as well, because this is going to make the difference, and you'll be able to get rid of that anxiety. I promise you, you will be able to get rid of it once you step on your path. It's 100%. I will guarantee that. And I never do that. Okay. Well, Catherine, I am so happy I got to talk to you today. And congratulations on a new job you'll be getting. And I hope that you will call back sometime so I can talk to you again and you can tell me what's happened. Or you can contact me on my website, psychicmediumcolleen.com, and let me know, because I do want to know. Okay? Make sure you do.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good night. Bye. And that was Catherine from Kansas. Yeah, she's going to be fun. She's going to go far. I hope she takes action towards that. It doesn't work if you don't take any action, but I know she can do this. It's going to be so exciting for her. She's going to feel great. Now we're going to move on to Shakoya from North Carolina. Shakoya, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I love your name. It's different.
Thank you.
I like different. It's beautiful. And how can I help you today?
I want to know what's going to happen with my relationship with Christopher.
Okay. Yeah, I just pick up on so many questions about that. Are you questioning?
Yes.
Because I get questioning. I'm actually getting a lot of really weird physical symptoms in my stomach. Do you get any kind of stomach things or chest pain or anything like that when like nervous? It's like nervous, I just and it seems okay. I'm glad I'm touching in with you, not someone else. But it's the feeling of you've really been thinking about this and thinking about this, and you've been going back and forth, and you're trying to figure it out. And you have a very high tolerance for things, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you put up with stuff, and you don't. You do you not speak your truth either? Do you? Do you suppress yourself and not say what you really need to say and want to say?
Sometimes.
Yeah. And, it is interesting because I'm not feeling you as being particularly happy in this relationship. Are you not really happy?
I am happy.
Okay. Why do I keep feeling this? Because it feels like there's too much going on here. It feels like you're going back and forth, with what's happening here. It seems like you've got too many doubts about it. So why do you say you're happy, but I'd feel you're not happy?
Right now I am, but it's been up and down.
Okay. So I'm getting the more longer term thing that's been going on. I
Hmm.
do get the impression that you try very hard, and I do get the
Hmm.
impression that you're there for him all the
Hmm.
time. But I don't get the impression that he's always there for you all the time. Does he not pay attention to you sometimes, or do you feel like he's not paying attention?
I feel like that sometimes.
Yeah. You know, I hesitate usually to predict like how a relationship is going to come out because you
Hmm.
have free will to create whatever you want. And
Hmm.
he has free will as well, of course. And there's a lot of things I want more clarity on in you and
Hmm.
who you are. I want more clarity on how you're feeling. I want you to be able to figure out what it is exactly you're looking for. Are there other issues and concerns besides him? You feel like he's not really paying attention. Does he travel a lot or something? Because I feel him not being present.
Yes, he travels.
Okay. So do you not see him as, all the time then if he's traveling?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay. And you are in a committed relationship, right?
Hmm.
Okay, good, because that's what I was feeling. So I just want to confirm that. And it is interesting. I want to right now. I'm getting the impression that I want to boost your self-esteem more. Do you spend too much time waiting around for him? Do you know what I mean? Not doing your own things as much. When he
Yes.
comes home, do you just kind of set everything aside so you can be there?
Yes.
Okay. And because what I want to do is I want to boost your self-esteem. I want you doing things that you want to do. I want you
Hmm.
kind of planning your own life as much as possible. Do you work outside the home?
No.
Okay. And what do you do when you're home?
I take care of my mom.
Okay. Because there's the feeling of you need more of you time. you know
Hmm.
you you doing what you want to do. I want it is interesting because is your mom seriously ill or something that you have to be there with her?
Yes.
And is there the opportunity, can she leave the house at all?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have around you a place? I know up where I live, there's some places where you can bring people to kind of as a social event kind of thing, but they have, people there who can watch them, nurses and things like that. It's kind of like an
Hmm.
adult daycare. Do you have anything like that around you?
I'm not sure.
Okay, that might be something to investigate because I'm getting the impression that if you can get some help with that, you would be able to do more things for yourself because I get the feeling that you're on call and it's hard to get involved in something else. It's not like you can go take a workshop or a class someplace,
Hmm.
and so there is that feeling of wanting you to have that time to yourself. Interesting. Would you say that you suffer from some sadness yourself? I don't want to call it depression, but kind of down yourself at times.
Yes.
And it's the feeling of not being able to. It's almost like you don't have control over your own life. That's what it feels like. Do you think
Yes.
you don't have control over your life? Okay, that's where I'm going. Because, I always say this, you're the one creating your life. So you have to figure out what it is you like to do and then start doing it. If you love to
Mhm.
read a good book, then go get that good book. If you love to even just Google things online and learn things or watch funny videos, then you've got to make the time to do that. So you've got to find ways to go about and doing that. I told one of my clients once a little while ago to write down. I always have people write, because if you were listening to the last caller, because then it's true, you can use it, and you can also use it as a resource when you can't think so clearly. So to write down some of the things you really like to do and think about it. When you were younger, what did you really like to do as a child?
As a child,
Yeah.
play outside.
Okay. So that might be something to consider. Do you get that time to go outside, walk in the woods, go to the beach, take a hike, take a walk? Do you get any of those things?
Not currently.
Okay. So we're going to have to come up with a way to get you to do that. So you'll have to
Mhm.
think about that. Okay. You want to think about some of those things you like to do when you were young, some of the things you'd like to do now. And then you've got to just come up with a way to do it, to make it happen. And if you want it badly enough, you can do it. And you'll be able to do that.
Mhm.
Once you start taking even one action step a day towards yourself, you'll notice you start to feel better and you'll be more empowered to make more changes. You'll be surprised. I know you have to take care of your mom, but there's still a way to do it. So,
Mhm.
Shakoya, I have to wrap up with you. So, think about some of the things I've said, because this could really help. Your relationship, as again, I don't really want to give you an ending or anything like that, because I'm more concerned about you and how you're feeling than the
Mhm.
relationship. Okay, so work on yourself and what you want, and then it'll be so much clearer for you. I have to say, though, before I let you go, if your relationship doesn't feel like it's going to end, okay, anytime soon, and I
Mhm.
don't know ever, okay, so I do want to let you know that. Okay, so thank you so much for calling, Shakoya,
Thank
and maybe I'll
you.
talk to you again. You have a good night.
You
Yeah,
too.
so
Thank
interesting.
you.
Okay, I will. Thank you. It's always so interesting, isn't it, when we have the callers to see what's going on? Because sometimes when we have our problems in our lives, we feel alone. We don't think anybody else is having problems. It's just us, but that's not the case. We all have problems, and I share mine regularly with you. So just remember, you're never alone. And my message always comes back to you and who you are. So you've got to know who you are. And I do want to thank you for listening and watching today. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this was Creating an Inspired Life. You can connect with me at psychicmediumcolleen.com, as well as on Facebook, Colleen Vanderzyden, Medium and Self-Empowerment Coach. And I will talk to you next week. Goodbye.